Well, what is up, young adults? You guys ready to worship tonight? Woo! Let's stand to our feet. And let's hands clapping.
I was buried beneath my shame. Who could carry that kind of weight? It was my tomb
Sing it out.
till I met you. Come on. I was breathing but not alive. All my failures I tried to hide. It was my tomb. So what? Till I, you called my name. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, to your glorious day. Now your mercy has saved my soul. Come on, let's declare it together. Now your mercy has saved my soul. Now your freedom is all that I know. Yeah. The old thing, Jesus, when I made you, oh, the day when you called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. You called my name, you called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. All right, we're gonna sing this bridge out right now, but we're not just singing a song. We're declaring truth of where we were to where we are. I needed a rescue, my sin was heavy, but chains break at the weight of your glory. I needed shelter, I was an orphan. Now you called me a citizen of heaven. When I was blind, whoa!
You were my healing. I'm getting up, feeling
I have a future, my eyes are open, 'cause when you called my name, I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. You called my name, and I ran out of that grave, out of the darkness, into your glorious day. Hey! To your glorious day. Hey!
All right, what is up, young adults? How are we doing tonight? Awesome. You guys, there are some seats up here in the front that are not filled. So I just invite you guys, please move forward if there's some seats in front of you that aren't filled so that people who walk in that door, if they're first time guests, they feel welcomed and they feel like they have a place in this house. Thank you guys. Well, welcome to Young Adults tonight. This is our last week of Hot Chelsea, and it has been an amazing series. I have taken so much away from just the opportunities to hear from other young adults on controversial topics, and it just has been so fun. So next week, we have a very special young adults happening. We are going to be celebrating the kickoff of a new series and a new season. We are going to have games. We're going to have snacks. It's going to be awesome. So follow us on PVC Young Adults Instagram to get updated on all of that. It's going to be amazing. Bring your friends and get ready for a new series all on thankfulness. And this is thankfulness from a perspective you haven't seen before. So you guys are going to want to be here. It's going to be awesome. But for right now, let's get back to worship together.
You unravel me with the melody. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies, till all my fears are gone. And I'm no longer a slave to fear. Come on, sing it out. 'Cause I am. Come on, declare one voice. I'm no longer a slave. I'm no longer a slave to fear. 'Cause I am a child of God. Yeah, a child of God. From my mother's womb, you have chosen me. Love has called my name, and I've been born again into a family. Your blood flows through my veins. I'm no longer a slave to fear, 'cause I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear, 'cause I am a child of God. And I'm no longer a slave to fear, 'cause I am a child of God. Declare it today. I'm no longer a slave to fear. Yes, I am a child of God. Yes, I am a child of God. I am surrounded by the arms of the Father. I am surrounded by songs of deliverance. We've been liberated. Do you believe that? Come on. From our bondage. We're the sons and the daughters. Let us sing our freedom. One more time, let's sing that out. I'm no longer a slave to fear, 'cause I am a child of God. Come on, lift your voice. Yes, I'm no longer. Come on. 'Cause I am a child. One more time. 'Cause I'm no longer. Yeah, 'cause I am a child of God. And I'm no longer a slave to fear, 'cause I am a child of God. Amen. Thank you guys. You guys can go ahead and grab a seat.
Hear me? Hello? There we go. How's everyone doing tonight? Woo! Can we give a round of applause to the worship team? That was awesome. Woo! All right, well, my name is Steven. If I haven't met you, I'd love to. I'd love to talk to you guys. That's what I do all the time. But this is the final week of this awesome series called Hot Seat. If this is your first time here, let me explain it to you so you're not like, what's going on, bro? What happens is we're going to talk to some awesome people. And I don't know if you guys are like me, but have you ever seen someone you're like, I wonder what they would think if I asked them about, and then you said it. And tonight, we're going to get a little bit deep, just a wee bit. So it's going to be awesome. It's going to be great. And let's introduce you guys to who we have. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves? They're going to get the mics on.
Oh,
there we
I'm
go.
on. Hi, guys.
Hello.
My name is Taryn Kennedy. This is my wife.
Jerica Kennedy.
And we are wondering, what the heck did we get
Woo!
ourselves into?
We have no idea what's going to happen here.
So yeah, we have these guys up here, and you might be wondering if you guys know them before. It's awesome. Taryn actually leads middle school here at Goodyear. So if you've been here in Goodyear serving, you probably know this guy. And they're an awesome couple. And the reason why I wanted them up here, it's very personal and it's very specific. I don't just pick anyone. I wanted them up here because most of us, in 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it looks like, maybe, hopefully, if you guys are feeling, if that's what God's got for your life, you might be in a married relationship. And so if you're ever thinking, what would my life look like married? What would my life look like 3, 4 years in? I'm kind of just past the young adults age. What would that look like, and how can I glorify God in the same way? And I believe this couple right here, this beautiful couple, is doing that. And so I believe if we open up our hearts tonight, we can learn something from them. We're going to ask them questions, and it's going to be awesome. And so the rules still apply. If you guys agree, if you guys are like, man, that was awesome, that was a word, let us know. Give us some claps, whatever y'all want to do, whatever the Spirit says. Yeah, there you go. It's when everyone does it in unison, it's really cool. So, yeah.
Yeah, we're excited to be here. We used to be you guys, which is weird to say. And we were thinking about that. She was telling a story about something that happened today, about a text she sent. She's like, I can't believe I'm 27. And I was like, babe, you're 28 now. So we're getting there, but yeah, thanks for having us. We're excited to be here.
It's going to be awesome. So the way this works is we're going to ask them their opinion on some things. Like, hey, what comes to mind when you hear this word? What comes to mind? And it kind of goes like this. We're going to start out light. You know, we can't just go right into like, all right, tell us about salvation. Like first word in, you're like, dude, this is insane. Like haven't even had my coffee yet. So we start out light, and then we kind of take a step in, just like 1 foot in the pool, step back out, give us a little comedic relief, and then we get in there. And so we're going to ask some questions tonight. Hopefully you guys can take something from it. It's going to be awesome. So I know this kind of resonates with me. I'm big on this. And here's the thing. They don't know what the words are. They don't know what they are. So when they hear them, it's kind of just like right off the bat, off the cusp answers. And we're going to be asked questions in life sometimes too. And you're like, wow, what would I say? So what comes to mind when you guys hear the word sports? You guys into that? You guys like that? What comes to mind? We're starting light. Can we turn that conference monitor off? What comes to mind?
You want to go first? Yeah, I was just going to say life. Like, without sports, I don't think we have anything.
Amen, brother.
Right?
Amen.
Come on, right?
Without sports, what are we doing here, man?
No, I was always into athletics, and I got to play some golf in college. That was like my identity through that.
Tell us a little bit about that. Like, this dude's being really, really, he's being selfless. He's not being prideful like I would in this situation. Tell us about your golf career real quick.
There wasn't one.
Oh.
I thought there might be someday, but I went to a really small Indiana school, so they're not very good at golf, and then they let me on. They were like,
okay,
you can play here. So this is my claim to fame, I guess, but it was not a good thing.
If any of you guys play golf, he's a scratch golfer, and what that means is you basically get a perfect score every time you golf. And that's insane. I've never done that in my life. I think I've gotten
He's never
closest
seen me
like
golf. He's making
20
this stuff up.
over. But anyways, he's awesome at golf. And so I just wanted to bring that up. What comes to mind when you hear this? Do you have any connections to this?
Can you hear me? Okay. It's like I'm like, woo. I actually coach cheer right now.
Ooh.
at high school.
Any cheerleaders in here? Okay.
Our old cheerleaders.
Let's see 'em.
Yeah, I never thought I would coach cheer, but here I am. And then, I don't know, I was just talking to an Ohio friend I met here today, and I was telling him I like the Buckeyes, so go
Ooh.
Buckeyes.
We'll be praying for you guys, yeah.
But no, I like to watch sports, but it's not like my life.
Okay.
Like,
Respect. Yeah. I feel like on the weekends, that is definitely a struggle I have. It's like I got church, but when I'm at church, I got to stop thinking about like the Steelers going 5-0. I mean, I'm sorry, I just had to throw that out
Right.
there. Like we're
And
undefeated,
you gotta,
so
you gotta check your fantasy score like literally always, right?
yeah, I know.
Setting your lineup right now.
Yeah, okay. So we're moving on before I get roasted up here. And this is a good one. And I think you guys might be like, ooh, okay. What comes to mind when you guys hear the word or phrase or words, first date? Ooh.
awkward.
Go in detail. Let us know what's going on.
So, our first date was like a planned first date. It wasn't the official first date. We met at a bar.
Nice. Let's go. At a bar.
I was working.
Yeah.
He wasn't.
She was working.
I was singing karaoke.
Tell him your favorite song. Just sing karaoke.
I'm not gonna sing karaoke tonight, but everybody has to have a karaoke song. I'll just say that to you guys. If somebody at some point was like, "What song are you gonna sing?" You need to have something memorized all the way through. And so I'm singing some Poison, some Every Rose Has Its Thorn, and I'm
Ooh.
assuming she's thinking like, "Who is that guy?" Is
Oh,
that how
yeah.
it was?
Oh yeah.
No, I don't think so. But anyways, she was new in town. She just said she's from Ohio. So I was like, hey, I'm having a gathering, back to school bash. Give me your number. I'll text you the address. You can learn
Oh.
some people, meet some new people.
And I just like to say, I don't just hand my number out to random people in a bar. There are other teachers that worked at the bar as well, and they knew him already, and they're like, this is a cool guy. Like, he's cute. And I was like, yeah, that guy would never date me.
I definitely wanted to date her.
So
But anyways, after that, sorry,
Yeah, of course.
we got to texting. And I was like, we should hang out. And she was like, well, she's in Disneyland or something, you know, being a tourist, checking out the West.
Yeah. I remember when Disneyland was open.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
And she's like, whatever, what are you doing tomorrow? And I was like, I'm going to church. And she was like, oh, you're going to church? And then that's where it really started. Once we figured out that each other liked church, like that was it. And so first date, Yard House, easy. I was in love. I think she was in love as well.
he picked me up in his brother's truck.
Ooh.
Come on, babe. Yeah, we're working
He
towards.
only had a motorcycle
Yeah,
at that
she didn't
time.
want to ride the motorcycle.
Get
so-
on the back, babe.
Yeah.
You know, that would be a little bit awkward. All right, hold my waist, you know. That's awesome. I like what you guys said there. Did you guys catch it? They said, hey, you want to go to church with me? Boom. And then after that is like all yours. You can go out to lunch. You guys can go. But if you start with church, like boom, then you know
Steven,
she or he
we
loves
started
Jesus.
with karaoke, dude.
Oh, you started with karaoke.
But no, you're right. That was definitely a huge thing for us, was knowing that the other person knew Jesus, and that started out like, oh, I should take this girl on a first date.
Oh, of course. Preach, dude. Preach. About karaoke, fun story that comes to mind. Like, I agree with him. We should have a song where that you can sing anytime, anywhere. It might just happen. Like, you might find your wife or husband. And we'll be talking about Young Adults Weekend soon. We had a karaoke night there. We absolutely killed karaoke night. If any of you guys remember it. We were like a church up in the front. It was like a mosh pit. It was awesome. So we'll be talking about that soon. But I just had to throw that out there.
Start practicing.
Oh yeah, so find your song that you can sing at any point, at all times, and it's going to be awesome. But that's besides the point. Okay, so we started kind of light. First date's good. Start dating. You really like this girl. Let's move things forward. I love her. I love him. They can't do anything wrong. Nothing wrong. And then something happens. What comes to mind when this word comes up? Let's see it. It's arguments. Ooh. what comes to mind? How can we learn from this, and what can you guys tell from your experience? Because if you guys think that these things can't happen, false. So tell us about it.
So actually, I've never like physically yelled at him. Like I don't argue like that. I don't know. I feel like I'm a crazy person if I do. And if you are a physical yeller, you're not crazy. I'm sorry, but I don't. After our first date, I wouldn't say that we actually had a like severe argument for a long time. I don't know. I'll let you take this way.
No, I feel like I'm adding to it just maybe with my expression. We really don't argue, but I think that's because we've been very upfront with like a lot of stuff. We've always communicated. I remember we might have avoided a few arguments because we didn't do a whole lot of texting. I know I mentioned that being like a start thing, but early on when we started dating, we made it a habit of doing phone calls and in-person conversations like all the time. If I was headed to work or something, I would call her and say, you know, what's going on today? And we would make like a plan. I just say that because I think some people can get, especially early on in a relationship, you can get, you misread a text message from somebody else. I don't know if you guys have ever done that in your life, but like, I think that that's happened. I know it's happened in past relationships for me. So we made it a point to always try and have conversations in person or like verbally without yelling. I don't know. But as far as like an argument, I'm trying to think of one.
I don't know. I'm forward, and I would just say like, "Listen, you're annoying me," or like, "Hey," like not in. I don't know. I think that it takes someone to understand in a relationship, like you're a human, and you're gonna sin, and you're going to make mistakes, and we're working through this relationship together. And if I'm not upfront and communicate, like, "Hey, I don't like that," or you did this and you may have not known that it made me feel this way, but it did, and I'm not saying that to them, and I'm just expecting him to know that that made me feel upset or sad, then he might not actually know that. And so I think that growth for me in past relationships, like we've talked about, I've learned that, and I've learned that, you know, he can't read my mind and I can't read his, and I actually have to like communicate to him specifically, and he has to communicate to me like, this is how I'm feeling and this is how you made me feel, and can we work on changing this, or what can we do to make this better? And I mean, when I think of the word argument, I think of like actual like, I don't know, when I think of argument, I think of somebody throwing a pan at another person.
Cussing at each other.
Yeah.
Or cussing. Like I've never like
Break-
said
Depends on what
you.
they said.
Like
so,
I don't cuss at my husband just because I feel like I sound like an idiot when I say curse words. Like I'm trying to be cool or something. But no, I don't think that doesn't show that I respect him when I am acting that way. So, but yes, have we argued about things? Yes. Have we disagreed? Yes. Do we try to say like, sit down, like, listen, you need to sit and listen to me because I'm trying to tell you. Like
She
I have
does
to like
have to do
sit and
that
talk to him like a
sometimes.
child sometimes. But you're not a child. But no, I've never from the beginning especially with him, I've never been that like you made me mad and you did the bull. I don't know. That's just not me. And I don't ever know what to say in a fight. I'm just like person in the background, like like I don't know,
Yeah.
like what she said. Like,
Amen. Yeah, and how could anyone fight with this guy? Good-looking dude. I liked what you guys said. Yeah, give him a round of applause on that. I like what you guys said on that one, though, because you said, when we're going through something, we agreed on calling or in person. Kind of go into more depth of that. Why did you do that? What started happening when you guys did that? Because I feel that I've misread a text before, and I was like, what did they just say? And so I show up in person ready to fight them. If you guys seen like UFC, that's what I imagine in my head going on. Like, I'm going to rip their heads off. And then they come up to me and they're like, I was kidding. Oh my gosh. I'm like, were you? Were you kidding? Okay. So just explain. I really like that. That's important. Go a little bit more in depth there.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in long-distance relationships where it seems like everything is just through the phone or you know, through a computer or something like that. And I knew from those not working out, like that's not something I want. Like my love language would be, you know, personal time being spent together. And I like looking at her. So if I get a chance to sit across and have a dinner date and and have a face-to-face conversation, I'm taking that every time. So, yeah, I would just say that back to it. I think that you can only text the 20-question game so many times with somebody, right? You run out of things to continuously be talking to someone. Just knowing after a short time that she was my person and that I could go through a whole day and then be like, hey, babe, I had a really good pizza today, and you would have loved it, or whatever. I didn't need to tell her that at the time because I was hanging out with other people, but to remember to come back and, give her those 10 minutes on the phone where it was nothing else, and that's what I was paying attention to. Because you can sit and watch a game or a movie and be texting your person, but you're not paying attention to your person at all. So we just were really, I think we had learned from past relationships that we wanted to make sure that we, when we did make time for each other, it was in person, or it was going to be a verbal phone call for sure. So.
And I don't know if this ties in, and this is rare, but Taryn had decided that even before he met me, that he was going to get rid of his social media. And so, as a woman or a girl or a young lady, we always are like, we overthink things sometimes. And I didn't have to worry about him liking another girl. It's like, and it's so stupid because there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with liking other people's stuff. But I didn't have to monitor him on social media. And it wasn't there as an option. And I wasn't, that wasn't an issue for us because he didn't have it. And it wasn't because I told him he couldn't have it. I have an Instagram and I use it. But I just think that was just a level of now I don't have to worry about things that actually aren't,
I just have to say, I had one in college. I had all the stuff that you would have. And I'm 100% confident that if she would have found that before we not because of anything terribly bad,
Finish the
but
sentence.
you can just look through it. 15-year-old Taryn is much different than the 22-year-old version that you met. I don't remember. 22 or 23, whatever it was. But when I had it, I don't know, the high school, college version of what I was posting or why it was on there would have just been ridiculous. And she could have, before those dates, made up her mind about things that maybe I liked or disliked. But we got to learn what each other told because I wasn't looking at her social media because I didn't have it. So it just kind of led to genuine conversations. And we all grow up, but if we have a literal scrapbook of all the stupid things that we've ever said or did, people can decide other things, and she might have never given me a chance if she would have seen any of those things. I don't know.
That's a solid approach. You can't slide in the DMs if you don't have social media, so just check that off. That was good. And one thing that you guys said, and I'm not advocating everyone right now, take that step of faith, delete your Instagram.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying.
I'm obsessed
Us
with
neither.
it.
It's just that's what worked for us
Yeah.
was face-to-face conversations.
Yeah,
getting to know
because
each other.
I have one, and I'm not willing to delete it. But I have, what I will say is, and you guys might feel this too, I don't know. I've done this before, where you're looking at someone's social media, and you make a decision if you would date them or not, 100% based off of what they've posted, what they've said. And there is some truth in that. If you can obviously tell, I don't know, I'm just not digging this person's vibe. But if you're not going to talk to them in person at all, and you're going to make the decision off of a app, question that just a little bit. I challenge you in that because I struggle with that. I'm sure if you're anything like me, you might struggle with it too. But good point. Good point. Give a round of applause for that one. That was good. So, like I said, we're not just going to jump right in. There's another thing I wanted to ask you, and I feel spiritually inclined to talk about this, and you guys might be like, why would you feel spiritually inclined to talk about this? I don't feel closer to God than when I'm on this. So what comes to mind, guys, you don't realize how personally attached I am to these things, and I haven't been on one in a while, and I'm waiting on it. What comes to mind when you guys hear the word roller coasters? Anyone like roller coasters in here? Where are my people? Okay, I would be friends with all of you. If your hand's down, okay. Just kidding. What comes to mind, guys? Let's hear it. You're like, what? How did we get here? Yeah, I get it.
I grew up in Ohio, and there's Cedar Point. Have you guys heard of Cedar Point? Cedar Point is the best roller coaster park ever. So I think of that, and it's funny because we would go on dates to Cedar. Not him. I would go on dates to Cedar Point and ride roller coasters with other people and pretend I was scared when I wasn't.
Can you show me your move? What did you do? Like,
No,
if, like
we'll leave that.
yeah, please don't.
No, I actually really was. I loved roller coasters, but I was like nervous the whole time before I got on them.
I'm gonna take it a more philosophical approach.
Here we go. Say it.
I have been to Cedar Point, but I'm thinking like life as a roller coaster.
Of course.
Oh,
right?
okay.
And we get to
Go there,
have some
go
really
there.
high points. We get some low points. But the cool thing is that we always get to come back to like something similar to where we started, and we learned from that ride that we were on. So, ooh, that felt good.
Yeah. Really?
Nice.
Life
Okay.
is a roller coaster.
I wasn't gonna go there with that one. I really like roller coasters. I'm when I'm on them, my heart is racing,
What's-
and I don't ever want to get off.
What's the best roller coaster you've been on?
Speaking of states and places that are important to me, Pittsburgh has this place called Kennywood Park, and it's the great. You've been there? Yeah. So that guy, he loves Jesus. So it's called Kennywood Park in Pittsburgh, and they have insane roller coasters that are so massive, like probably way bigger than the ones in Ohio. Just saying, really big.
They don't even know.
And so.
They have no idea.
And there's this one where you go on and you just stand on top and they like bring you up. Like you're literally, it looks like you're in a, what's that thing when you carry babies on your chest? Like that thing. It looks like you're on that. And they bring you up all the way to the top of the sky. And then they say, there's going to be like a handle. You pull the handle. And so when, Sky Coaster. So when you pull the handle, then you drop and you just go. And so it's literally like if you've ever wanted to just like see what it's like to fall to your death, pull that sucker. Pull it. So you pull it and you just go down and it's amazing. And I've never felt closer to God than when I was on that. Because literally, if it wasn't catching me, I was meeting God. So it's just right there. So thank you. If you guys have any roller coaster stories, please tell me about them. Now, next. This is going to be the greatest segue into another topic that you ever seen in your life. Like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. You know how roller coasters get your heart racing? Can we talk about something? It's 3 letters, and you might know where I'm going with it. Can we talk about sex? All right. Hey, on the count of 3, can everyone say sex? It's not awkward unless you do it. 3, 2, 1.
Sex.
There we go. You can say it. It's not a bad word. We just went from roller coasters to sex in 30 seconds, baby. So, that was smooth. I know.
Nice.
Is your heart racing? Yeah. Okay. Let's hear about it. It's something we got to talk about. We haven't talked about it here at Young Adults in a while. I would like to hear from you guys. Take as long as you want.
Yeah, man.
Oh.
Well, we're excited. We're still waiting on it. We've been married for. No, just kidding. Sorry.
Come on. What? We've been pure for 3 years. You're like, you're married, dude. What?
You got any thoughts?
It happens.
It's great.
It's a great part of marriage.
Yeah.
And
One of the best.
yeah.
Yeah. So like,
Why don't you? How
wanna-
about this, Stephen?
Okay.
Give us some like what?
Okay.
What were you looking
Okay.
for
So
there?
we all have a perception
Okay.
of what we think it is, of what it is. And so when we get into marriage, a lot of times we think like, oh my gosh, everything's gonna be perfect because I can have sex. Everything's gonna be awesome because I can do these things I've always wanted all the time with the love of my life. What are some of the misconceptions? How can we honor God in this? And
Yeah.
why is it so important? It's great. It's awesome. From their experience, I'm not like stating like personal, just like, let me tell you about my experiences. No, I'm asking you guys, what are some of the misconceptions? What have you guys learned? And how can you guys give us advice for us being in your shoes in a few years?
Yeah.
Was that better for it?
Yeah,
Will
no,
you,
yeah,
that
yeah.
Give you an answer? Okay.
I think we could have got there, but I wanted to hear you talk about it a little bit more.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Take it away.
Okay. Yeah. No.
I said we'd be talking
I was
about it,
waiting.
so.
I know, but I've been. Yeah.
I would say that, just personally speaking, I didn't take the biblical approach to sex before marriage. So I had experiences, and I had this perception, and especially somebody who's just struggled with lust and struggled with fighting against pornography and trying to fight this line of staying pure in my own mind, my own heart, and be honoring to my future spouse at the same time. All of those things that you're taught while we're here, while we're at church, while we're at small groups, any of those things. And I had thought that, like, once we got married, all of those kind of thoughts would just go away. So I would say that's definitely one of those misconceptions that I've just learned from my own experience, and then from just godly guys that I've surrounded myself with, that you still need to guard your heart and guard your mind and guard the things that you're allowing to control what you're thinking about, even as a married person, even as somebody who is now practicing that all the time or whenever you want, those kind of things. But it's still something that you need to fight that good fight. So sorry, guys, if you think that whole purity battle that you're on right now is going to just go away. It's not. And same thing for you, ladies. I'm not naive enough to, or I know that same struggle is on both sides of this idea that it's just going to be la la land from here on out, and it's not. You still need to make sure that you're choosing that person, that you're honoring that person every day.
I think you said it really well. Yeah.
You have anything to add?
I would totally agree, and it's not just on the men's perspective, it's the women's perspective as well. And I think that you have to work continually to keep that flame going as well. It's just, I mean, you have your honeymoon stage, like everybody says, but you have to continue to choose and to I don't know where I think that if go ahead.
I didn't want to cut you off. I was just gonna say
So
that
cute.
the honeymoon stage is, at least what I have learned, I feel like everybody thinks it's like this physical attraction to somebody else, and it's like, oh yeah, like once we can have sex, we kind of complete the whole thing. And it's funny how it goes from, at least and from my perspective, instead of this like physical attraction, yes, I think my wife is smoking hot, and I'm so blessed by, this relationship that God's given me. However, it turns to this whole thing to where it's like your attitude now that we're married is what is like a turn on. Like if you're moping around, and I'm thinking of myself, like she's not gonna think I'm smoking hot if I'm feeling bad for myself about how my day went, which is just one of those things that I think changed. It wasn't like it's not changed. I don't know how to explain this. Maybe I should have let you keep talking. But it just the perception changes once you're married, and it's that idea that like, okay, we have to continue to choose each other. We have to choose to come home with a good attitude, because there is that part of the relationship that we still want to foster, but it's not like this idea that every day you're having sex because you're just so excited to have sex. It's just kind of crazy because that's what you think when you're about to get married. I don't know. Sorry, you got to add something because it just got really quiet
They're
in
all
here.
quiet.
Did you have anything else you wanted to add? This last week I was talking to, and I was talking to a pastor at Palm Valley, kind of about, there goes my phone again, this week, and I was talking to him, I was like, hey, we're going to be talking about this. And so this is what he said. I'm not like saying it from experience, because I'm not going to speak on something I don't know anything about. But he was talking about it, and he said, the church will tell you a lot of times, and you guys have probably heard it, if you've been raised in the church, you might have heard this, sex is great when you wait. And he said, that's one of the biggest lies you'll ever hear. And the reason why is this. The premise of what that is saying is not bad. If you wait until marriage with whoever you're with and you say, let's stay pure until we have marriage, you get to have those lasting benefits that you had because you waited. But the reason why that saying can be a little bit off-putting is because sex can be good before marriage. Sex can be great anytime you have it. This is what he said. And so when you do this, and you're saying, oh, it's only great when you're in marriage. No, you just get a lasting benefit when you wait, and you give it into God's hands. And you give sex, that one thing, you make it important to God, he'll make it better for you when you wait on it, when you honor him in the way that it's been created, with whoever you're with whatever you're going with. That saying can sometimes be a little bit misleading, and I just wanted to point that out before we move any further.
You have anything to add to that?
I thought you were gonna
I was going to say, yes, I'm glad that you brought that up. Because neither one of us took the sex is great, when you wait, suggestion. And so we had to have a conversation that they tell you is going to happen, but it is so much worse in person than what anybody tells you. And I'm going to try to say this one, she's smiling, but like without any sort of jokes. Because when I had to go to my fiance at the time and to have this conversation about, just the weight of what I was feeling, of the guilt, the shame that comes along with it, that was a conversation that needed to happen. I don't think we were ever stronger than after that conversation where we just kind of got everything out there. But that's not fun. And I think about people in here, and I'm sure some of you guys are in that same boat. You've already broken the... I'm going to make the assumption because it's a group of almost 20-something-year-olds. It might have happened for some of you guys already. And to those people, I'm just going to say, it's not like, especially here at this church, nobody's going to shame you for doing that. It's not like you've done anything worse than anybody else ever. But what I will say is that we don't have to stay in that. And just because you're going to have a conversation with your future spouse someday about, what you've done to this point doesn't mean that you go and make that even worse tonight or tomorrow or the next day. Because each thing that you add to it, if you're going to have a genuine relationship with somebody, you're going to have to unload that someday. And that is not a fun conversation to have. And luckily, my fiance understood grace because she knew Jesus. And it was like this thing where I'm just crying and she's crying, but then she's like, okay, what do we do now? And I'm like, what? Like, you're not mad? You don't want to not be with me anymore? And that is the beautiful thing about the restoration power of Christ. But you don't have to do that. And for those of you that maybe have held on to it and you might be feeling some pressure to this idea that I'm in love and my, boyfriend or girlfriend is my person, and they might not be. I'll just say that. And until you're married, I would say hold on to it, because I think it would have been really special if I could have given that gift to my wife and just been like, you know what, we're married now, and I loved you enough before I even knew you to not engage in anything like that. So there's that. Sorry.
I like what you said, and that applies to everyone. Whichever boat you're in, whatever has happened from this day on, you are not judged. You are not judged for what you came in with. You're not judged with what you're leaving with. When Jesus sees us, he just loves us because he made us. He's not waiting to punish us off of what we've done. So if any of those things related to you, know that you're not judged because of what you came in with. God loves you, and when we have a relationship with him, that's when he can just take over. And so that was a really good topic. I'm glad we talked about it, because that needs to be talked about in church. This topic needs to be talked about in church. Because I was talking to our group before this, I was talking to our volunteers. If it's not talked about here, it will be talked about outside of here. You will ask other people. We will talk to our friends that maybe don't go to church. We'll look up online. We'll go on social media. The world has a perception of what this is supposed to be. And if I can tell you anything, if you remember anything from this, know the world's going to lie to you. The world is messed up. And so when we ask these questions at church, we can point to Jesus. What does God have to say about this? And so the last one I want to land on, I want to finish with, I want you to give us just some tips, maybe some experience you guys have on this last one. I think it's important in friendships, in dating relationships, in married relationships. It's the word trust. What comes to mind when you hear the word trust? And what can you guys give us?
I talked a lot last time.
You did. I just gotta. I think that, a preface with this is that I wouldn't have married or even said yes to him when he proposed to me if I didn't trust him, wholeheartedly. I think that I didn't view getting engaged and married and then having a baby, I'm not pregnant, but as just these stepping stones that you're supposed to
What?
No.
No, just kidding.
no these stepping stones that you have to follow, and by age 28 you need to be this and this. I knew prior to even meeting Taryn, and I prayed for him before I met him. I really did. And it's I truly believe in the power of prayer, but when you talk about it out loud, in my own mind, I'm that sounds like some people who don't go to church probably think I sound crazy. But like I prayed for my husband and he came to me. But I did pray for him, and I some selfish prayers and of how I think my husband should be, and then just that God would bring somebody into my life that I could trust and that that I was compatible with. And I think that it's super important that you, like, if you are a Christian and you believe in God and you have that relationship, that before you even like enter a relationship or get serious in a relationship or go on your second date, in my opinion, is to like get to know them and get to know their values. And again, I wouldn't have progressed in our relationship if he didn't align, like if his values and his beliefs didn't align with mine. And then that trust aspect prior to the engagement. And I think that the trusts are always building trust. It's never like, oh, I trust you I mean, I do trust him wholeheartedly, but it's not just this end point. Like, I trust you now, and that's it. I think it's something that you continue to work towards.
Right. Yeah, and I would just say,
good.
yeah, no, that was good.
He's just so much better to listen to.
I was just gonna say that I was in relationships where, and I don't know if you guys are doing this. This is just my 2 cents. But if you are doing anything like this, get out of that relationship. It's gonna be terrible. But I remember being in high school, wanting to hang with the boys, but I was in this relationship and I would have to lie to that person because they were so worried about what I was doing. So I was like, oh no, babe, I'm going to bed, and then go hang out with the boys. And oh my God, the guys were like, what are you doing? Like, why would it not be okay to hang out with us? And guys, if it's not okay to hang out with the guys, then you shouldn't be with that person. That's just going to be my opinion on that. And so I went through a few of those relationships where, yes, thank you. And I was like, why am I lying about it? And like some of the stuff I was doing was really stupid stuff. And so the girl was probably right to say, no, you shouldn't be doing that. But I was still lying about one thing and doing another thing. And then I get into this relationship once I meet Jerica, and I'm just like, no, I'm going to go do this with the boys. And she's like, oh, okay, cool. And that was partly, I think, yes, thank you again, because we had those vocal conversations. So I would call her on the way to hang with the boys and then maybe on the way home. So it wasn't, I had just learned from communicating poorly and terribly and lying in the past to having this loving relationship where she was like, oh, that's cool. And I think that just came from a lot of maturity probably for both of us. And we're lucky that we found each other when we did, because if she was around when I was in high school, she probably wouldn't have liked me either. So
Right. And I
there's
would add to that like, my identity wasn't in you. Like, I didn't want to, like, if you wanted to go do, like, I
Come
didn't.
on. Identity is not found in him.
Like,
Good.
I still had the things I liked to do and that I wanted to do. And once I had a boyfriend, it doesn't mean I need to spend every waking moment with him. Like, I have my own life and I have my own identity and I have things that I want to do. And I'm not engaged to you at this point or married to you. And so if you want to go hang out with the boys and I want to go hang out with the girls, like, that shouldn't be a question. Like, you don't, like,
Yeah.
we're together and that's great. But, like, I don't own you now. Like, I don't get to tell you what you get to do. And I still don't. Like, he's my husband and we make decisions together. But if he wants to go do something and he changes plans last minute, as long as he communicates that with me, I'm okay with that. But when you get to the point where you feel bad for wanting to do something that's apart from your wife or your girlfriend, you shouldn't have to have that feeling. Like, you guys are different people still. But I don't know, I think I got to a point in my life where I was like, I'm not living, I think growing up in high school and in college, like, you want to be noticed. Like, I wanted people to notice me. I wanted the boys to notice me. And then I got to a point in my life, I was like, why am I living like this? And I did read this book called Lady in Waiting, and so it's a really good book, and it really opened my eyes to kind of why I acted the certain ways I acted in high school and college. And I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do what I like enjoy doing and what's gonna make me happy. And if it's hanging out with him, it's hanging out with him. And if he wants to go do his own thing, then he's gonna go do his own thing, and that's not gonna affect my mood. So
yeah. I think that we would have missed the whole time up here together. We would have missed the whole night if we didn't add this as well, that we've had this conversation a lot together, that if I wasn't pursuing Christ when we met and she wasn't pursuing Christ when we met, that there is no way that we would have worked out. And some of those things that we were talking about were like, no, I'm going to go serve this weekend, or I'm going to go do this in Mexico. And she was like, oh, that's cool. Like, go do that. I'm going to hang with the girls. So it was these things where I was feeling compelled to go and to continue serving. And she was doing the same. That I think that none of the trust stuff works if the trust is in each other, because we're going to fail each other all the time. But we put our trust in Christ, and we've just lived with that. And I think that when you're doing that, like the personal relationship comes a little bit easier once you focused on God. So,
Come on, that was good. That was good. Well, guys, can we give them a big round of applause? Thank you, guys. You guys take a seat. That was awesome. They will be hanging around after this. If you want to talk with them, please. You need people in your life who have gone a couple stages ahead of us, who are a little bit more advanced in the relationships that we're in. But I've been moved by this series. I've been moved by what we've been talking about. And I don't want this to end right now. I don't want this just to go home and for us to be like, man, that was good. I heard what I wanted to hear. I'm just going to silence what I didn't want to hear. No, when we take this message in and we make it our own, that's when God can take control and we give it to him. So before we leave, we're going to sing one more song. We're going to ask God to intervene in our situation. We're going to ask God to take control of our lives, because the things that we know as Christ followers is that this is not our home. This is not where we will live for the rest of our lives. We have a home in heaven. We have a Savior that loves us. We have a relationship with the Creator of the universe, and he wants one with you right now. And so we're going to sing a song asking for more Jesus. Show us your presence so that we can be aware of all that he is. I pray that this series is something that you guys are able to take home with you. And I pray that this changed you, it moved you, it challenged some things that you might have been thinking about. Let's pray before we do this. God, I thank you so much for what you've been doing. I thank you for what you've been doing in this series, how you've been moving us, how have you been taking us further than we ever thought we could go. And God, I thank you that when we talk about these topics, we don't have to feel judged. We don't have to feel less than. We don't have to feel like we can't be accepted by you because of the things that we've done. God, if that was the way it was, none of us would be worthy. None of us would be able to have a relationship with you. But since you came before us, and since you took the pain that we deserved, we get to have a relationship with you. So God, I'm asking right now that you would come into our lives, that you would change what we're doing and let it glorify you, and you would take control of our situation. Would you guys stand with me as we sing?
I will live for the moments where I'm still in your presence. All the noise dies down. Lord, speak to me now. You have all my attention. I will linger and listen. I can't miss a thing. Lord, I know my heart wants more of you. My heart wants something new, so I surrender all. All I want
Jesus, have your way in me now. Let's lift it up. Open up my heart to for your way. Open up my heart to you now. So do what only you can. Jesus, have your way in me now. I open up my heart to you. I open up my heart to you now. To do what only you can. Jesus, have your way in me now. Lord, I want to live in the love, be affirmed by who you are. My desire is to know you. Lord, I will open up again, throw my fears into the wind. Oh, I am desperate for a touch of heaven. We just want you, Lord. Let's sing this out again. And all I want is to live within, be undone by who you are. My desire is to know you deeper, Lord. I will open up again, throw my fears into the wind. I am desperate for a touch of heaven.
Here, just give Jesus some praise tonight. Woo! Well, it has been such a blessing, so wonderful to be with all of you guys tonight. You are dismissed, and we will see you next week, next Wednesday night at 7:30. Doors open at 7.